Hey, what's going on, fam? So, just another quick video. I want to talk about the presidential candidate Marianne Williamson. But before I even get into that video, first I want to say rest in peace to the brother Nipsey Hussle. Rest in power. He was a activist in the community. He was doing a lot of good things. I wasn't the I listened to some of his songs, don't get me wrong. It was part of like some of my playlists, but I wasn't like a huge fan or anything. But you didn't have to be a huge diehard fan of Nipsey to appreciate the person that he was and the work that he was doing. And whether his death was street related or a greater conspiracy, it's a sad day for black people in America, whether you're a ADOS or an immigrant, which I believe Nipsey had immigrant lineage, or was an immigrant himself. I'm not clear on those facts, but it doesn't matter. He was a good person. He was doing the work. He was an ally of black people in America, which is what's most important to me from an immigrant. Because that's a misconception about ADOS people, that we hate immigrants or where we're xenophobic or things like that, and none of that's true. None of that's true at all. You can see by the amount of ADOS people, whether they're part of the movement or just ADOS by blood, uh, are grieving this brother's death, and rightfully so. And I just want to say rest in peace to the brother. I hope you get justice. I pray you get justice, but you never know, especially if it was government conspiracy, which I lean more towards it being a government conspiracy. A lot of these uh, Negroes are showing their coon sides by trying to use his death as a way to wag the finger at black people as a whole. But nobody ever does this when you never see the white community do this when a white mass shooter shoots up a bunch of people. Did you see white people getting on the internet and saying, white people, we got to do better? Yeah, you saw some liberals, but it's not a thing that most white people do. And even the white people that would say something like white people have to do better, they're such an extreme minority that they're almost insignificant. And the majority of white people are not using mass shootings to cast aspersions on white people. But we know black people have a history of one black person doing something that they should not have been doing, or doing something wrong, and that being applied to all black people. And this is why, part of the reason why we're at the bottom. But I digress, because this isn't a video about Nipsey. I just wanted to put that out there, extend my condolences to his loved ones, and the ones who are going to miss him the most, the people who knew him, and all the people who didn't really know him but were impacted by his work, or even maybe by his music. Um, I just want to say rest in peace and rest in power to the brother, and I hope he gets justice. Even though that's questionable, especially if it's a government conspiracy. But anyway, I digress. So, Marianne Williamson. Some of you may know, but some of you may not know. She's a presidential candidate, a real outsider, someone who doesn't really have a chance of winning, which I hate that term because, as I've said in previous videos, your next door neighbor should have a chance of winning. Nobody should be, especially if they're running for president, they should have a good as chance as anybody. For us to discard somebody because they're not approved by the Democrats, because nobody knows Marianne Williamson any more or any less than Kamala Harris or Bernie Sanders. You don't know Bernie Sanders personally. You just seen him on TV and you see what he pretends to be. But I've already exposed Bernie Sanders, and other ADOS has exposed Kamala Harris and all these other people. So when you look at these candidates in depth, these other ones, the mainstream ones, the ones who supposedly have a quote unquote chance of winning, there's nothing about them that should give them more of a chance of winning than Marianne Williamson or any other quote unquote outsider candidate or third party candidates, outside of the fact that they're approved and promoted by the mainstream Democrat Party, and they're allowed on TV, and they're allowed on all these, and they're given all this media attention that legitimizes them further than their own work would, because they have no real body of work. That includes Bernie Sanders, that includes Kamala Harris, that includes Elizabeth Warren, etc., etc., etc. Most of these people have no real body of work that would tell you that they should have more of a chance of winning the presidency than a Marianne Williamson. I mean, hell, Donald Trump, he had no political body of work and he won the presidency. But what was the difference? He was promoted and sponsored by the Republican Party, meaning that they were allowing him in their debates. They were giving him the requisite media attention. They were giving him the credibility that says that he can win. So I draw that to say that there's a real problem if we are determining who has a chance to win based on whether or not the media is co-signing them. And by co-signing, I mean giving them coverage, not necessarily promoting them or saying that this is someone who you should vote for, but just giving them the necessary and the requisite attention. And that is the only difference between a Marianne Williamson and a Bernie Sanders and a Kamala Harris and a Donald Trump. So I just wanted to put that out there. So she's a candidate who supposedly has no chance of winning. One thing that has made her stand out, though, among ADOS in particular, is her support for reparations. And the one thing that distinguishes her support of reparations from other candidates is that she's supporting a cash package, whereas all these other Democrats are supporting universal policies and calling it reparations, or just outright saying they're not going to support reparations like Bernie Sanders. So that is one thing that distinguishes her. Now, when she came out early on, I mean, when everybody else was first announcing, when Kamala and Bernie and all these people were first announcing, she kind of came out around that same time, and she said that she would support reparations. And that caught up a lot of ADOS attention because, and it rightfully so, because she's the only one supporting a real reparations package for Black Americans, or so it seems. But the problem came in when you looked at the amount that she was proposing. The amount that she was proposing was $100 billion, which was far, far too low. Now, when she first says this, it's fair to chalk it up to ignorance. She doesn't know. She hasn't done the work. She doesn't realize that $100 billion is far too low an amount for reparations. Like, it's if you divide it up by the 30 million something Black people that are actually ADOS, that's like $250, $500 a person, something like that. Right? You can do the math, but it's like a very low amount. It's like around $1,000 or less than $1,000. Like, it's basically nothing. And I'm talking about per person, per ADOS. And that's a problem. And people like Tone Talks and Tone Talks is of Antonio Moore and Yvette Carnell, some of the main people who spearheaded and created the hashtag ADOS and created the movement in the term ADOS. They said, it's cool that she supports reparations, but it's too low. And so they actually had her on their show. And this is where I have a problem with Marianne Williamson and why I'm making this video. Why are ADOS supporting Marianne Williamson? They had her on the show and they corrected her. They let her know $100 billion is too low. And she even acknowledged that after they explained it. And she said, yes, I understand that if we come with a reparations package that is not sufficient, that is not going to close the racial wealth gap, that is not going to lift the condition of Black Americans, it would be more damaging to the reparations movement than us not getting it at all. Because once we get a so-called fake reparations package, what people are going to do, or what the white supremacists are going to do, is say, you already got reparations. Even if it wasn't enough. Even if we got $2 and it was reparations, a $2 tax credit, they're going to say, we already gave you guys reparations. So this proves that no matter what we do, it's never going to be enough. So and then they're going to just use that for another 400 years to stall out giving us real reparations. After they had already stalled us out for 400 years with no reparations. If we allow them to get away with giving us a fake reparations package, it'll be another 400 years of stalling that we'll have to deal with. And we'll be extinct long before then. Because ADOS are expected to have median zero wealth by 2053. And our extinction will follow shortly after that. We'll no longer exist in America. The only Black people you'll see will be Black people who have roots, who are 2 or 3 generations or 4 or 5 generations removed directly from Africa, but basically they have no Jim Crow slavery lineage in America. That's really the only black people that will be left, are black people who are part ADOS will be the only black people who are left. So black people who are ADOS, half white, half ADOS, half black immigrant. Those will be the only people that are left in America as far as black people if we let this continue. All of us who have parents from both sides who have lineage back to Jim Crow will be extinct by that time. And I'm just saying, even though she didn't say all that expounding on the damages, she basically acknowledged that by saying, I understand that an insufficient reparations package would be worse than no reparations. So she got on Tone Talk Show and she said this. She's already spoken to Sandy Darity, one of the leading economists on reparations, on ADOS reparations in particular. He is the leading economist. She's had a conversation with the experts, with the people who are in the know on reparations. So the ignorance excuse that you could have made for her when she first came out with the $100 billion package is gone now. It's gone. Because she has already been told, and I'm going to put links in the description box to prove. I'm going to put the link to her interview with Tone Talks, and I'm going to put a link to her interview with The Breakfast Club. And the reason why I'm going to put a link to her interview with The Breakfast Club is because she got on that show after she appeared on Tone Talk Show, after she's talked to Sandy Darity. And you know what she had adjusted her amount to? Between $100 billion and $500 billion, which is still far too low. She was told that it would take trillions, at minimum 1 or 2 trillion, at minimum. But a more realistic figure is around 14 trillion or more for it to be a sufficient reparations package. And after you were told this, you still you adjusted it, but you still adjusted it too far low. So you didn't even take 100 billion totally out the picture. It's not like she went from 100 billion to 500 billion, which would still be bad because you've been told the right amount and you still went to an amount that's too low after you've already expressed that you understand the potential damages of proposing an amount that's too low. But she didn't even take 100 billion totally out the picture. She said now it's going to be between 100 and 500 billion, which means that she could still stick to the 100 billion amount that she stuck with from the beginning. But even if she does go up to 500 billion, since she opened the door for that, that's still too low. So my question is, why are ADOS supporting her? And the only real explanation I've gotten from some ADOS people who are supporting her is, oh, it's not about her amount. We just need her on the debate stage to talk about reparations. So let me get this straight. You think that you're going to send Marianne Willamson, a woman who's showing almost a level of contempt for reparations because she's been told the right amount and she's still offering too low an amount after she understands the potential damages, after she's already expressed that she understands the damage of proposing too low an amount. And you think she's going to get on the debate stage and all of a sudden be the reparations candidate? Your goal is to put her on the stage to quote unquote get reparations on the debate stage. All the other candidates are offering fake support for reparations. So reparations is already on the debate stage. We don't need Marianne Willamson to get reparations on the debate stage. We already got Kamala Harris. We already got Elizabeth Warren. We already got Julian Castro. Even though it's fake reparations, it's universal programs that they're calling reparations. They're still talking about it. They're still using it to attack each other. The Democrats are still using it, or the more corporate centrist Democrats are using it to already attack Bernie Sanders, who at least he's not. The only thing that he's doing that I can give him credit for is that he's pulling no punches about his non-support for reparations. The other candidates are pretending. He's saying, look, I'm not going to support reparations. I'm going to support universal policies in its place, which is the same thing as the rest of the Democrats, which is why I'm not rolling with Bernie. except Bernie's being more honest about the fact that he's not supporting real reparations. But they're using that, the ones who are lying about it, as a talking point to attack Bernie Sanders. So it's already on the debate stage. ADOS did that. We don't need. And then here's the other thing too. You actually think Kamala Harris is going to get on the stage and, I mean, not Kamala Harris, sorry, Marianne Willamson is going to get on the stage and make the whole debate about reparations? Do you guys not understand how a debate works? There's questions that are already generated before the debate, and obviously there's some controversy on whether or not the candidates get the questions, but whether they get the questions or not before the debate. The questions are predetermined by the debate host or by the hosting network. The topics are determined, and reparations will be one of the topics. And then they'll also, offer their fake support, and Bernie will be the only one who is honest about his non-support. ADOS has already gotten reparations on the debate stage. We don't need Marianne Williamson for that. And even if she did get on the debate stage, she doesn't have control of the debate to the point where she can make it all about reparations. Nor is that her only policy. Y'all are acting like Marianne Williamson, her whole platform is going to be only about giving reparations. Or that's going to be her only plan. They have to talk about other stuff. Excuse the cough. Even in a perfect world where we had candidates that were supporting real reparations, reparations cannot be the only policy that they're going to have. They're still going to have policies for other people. They're still going to have healthcare policies, tax policies. They can't just be only reparations. That's not going to happen from any candidate. It's not realistic. Now, and that, it's a whole nother discussion, because obviously we say, as ADOS, that's our point. It's not that we can only have, because a lot of people will lie on ADOS and say that's our only motivation, that we only want reparations and nothing else. And it's kind of true to the degree that that's really the only thing that I care about. Everything else comes second. But it's not true in the fact that I'm saying that it's reparations and you can't have any other policies but reparations. It's just that you must have reparations. Whether you have other policies or not, you must have reparations. But we know they're going to have other policies. So Marianne Williamson is not going to get up here and answer every question, or get on here and be able to stand up and call out each candidate. You don't support reparations. You don't support reparations. It's not going to be like that. Even if she did get on the debate stage, it's not going to be that. The whole damn debate is not going to be about reparations. Her only real opportunity to talk about reparations is when the moderator of the debate asks about reparations. So it's already on the debate stage. She's not the one putting it on there. It's us as ADOS. And then it's the moderators in the media, through the pressure that we've applied to the candidates, having to ask about it. It's not like they were going to get on there and not talk about reparations, and she was going to get on there and stand up and say, hey, whoa, what about reparations? And force everybody else to talk about it. No, they're already talking about it. And that's the other thing I want to say too, fam. That's our problem. Black people, we don't have enough faith in ourselves. We don't have enough faith in ourselves to get this done. Even though, yes, we need a politician to actually sign the bill, as far as the momentum and as far as getting it all the way up to the point where the bill would actually be on a politician's desk, all that starts from the grassroots. This Marianne Williamson stuff, it's rooted in white saviorism. I'm sorry to say it, because I know a lot of ADOS people, and I'm talking about ADOS as far as people who are actually in the movement, not just the lineage, are supporting her. And I know a lot of us are the total opposite of people who are looking for white saviors. But unfortunately, it's too many of us that still are. It's too many of us, because it's people, not most ADOS don't come from a background like me, from a black nationalist, Pan-African, very pro-black background. A lot of these people came to ADOS, or at least the ADOS, the movement, coming straight off voting for Bernie Sanders, which I've been against him since the last election, since, when Hillary won. the Democrat primaries because he was against reparations then. So I have a history of not supporting. I mean, even Yvette admitted that she was supporting Bernie back then. So so even though I wasn't the ADOS founder or movement, I have a history and a background in these kind of politics, even longer than some people like Yvette Carnell. As far as the politics of putting black people first and foremost above other groups' needs and universal policies. I've been on that for a while. But anyway, I'm saying that to say we have a white savior problem. A lot of us still do. Because we don't have the sufficient background. So because we're coming from the Democrat and the Bernie bro type of background, we're still clinging on to that need for a white savior. Because that's what a lot of this Democrat worship is centered in. It's some nice white person is going to come in and make the Republicans stop being mean. That's really what it is. A white savior complex that we're looking for from liberals and Democrats. And that's what Marianne Willamson is to a lot of us. Instead of us saying, we are the ones who are going to put reparations on the debate stage, because we've already done it. Now we all of a sudden need Marianne Willamson, who's offering the same level of fake reparations that these other candidates are. As a matter of fact, I would rather have a universal policy than a $500 billion or $100 billion reparations package. Because at least we still have the door open to fight for reparations instead of being set back another 50, 100, 250 years by getting fake reparations. I would rather have Bernie's universal policy if that's the case. So in that case about Marianne Willamson, even though she's offered a cash reparations package, she's no different than the other candidates. Because her cash reparations package is almost worse than a universal policy. Or it is worse than a universal policy. So again, family, we need to stop looking for a white savior, especially one who has no chance of winning the election in the first place. Putting all our support behind her, possibly getting her on the stage for what? So she can say she supports a package that's far too low? A package with an amount that's far too low, that's insufficient? After she's been told a proper amount? We do not need Marianne Willamson for that. We would need Marianne Willamson to sign a real legitimate reparations package, but she's not showing any support for it. It's not yet. Now, if she changes her mind, then yes, I might change my mind on her. But hey, the same thing goes for Kamala Harris or Bernie Sanders. As corrupt as I think they are, as fraudulent as I think they are, if they came out supporting a $14 trillion cash reparations package, guess what? My whole stance on Kamala Harris or Bernie Sanders or whomever came out with it would change. But until then, I'm not voting for any of them. And if that means not voting at all, so be it. We've been dealing with Trump for 400 years. Another 4 years won't hurt us. But fam, we need to stop with this white saviorism, because that's what it is. Oh, we need white mommy Marianne Willamson to get on the stage and fight for reparations for us. No, we don't. No, we do not. Not if she's going to offer the same lukewarm BS and call it reparations that the rest of these candidates are. And as of right now, $100 to $500 billion reparations package is some lukewarm BS. It's a package that's far too low. It's no different than the universal policies that Bernie or Kamala or whomever is offering, because it's going to have the same effect. No benefit to us. And like I said, what may be worse about it is that at least the other policies, they can't lie and say you got reparations already with a universal policy that was not specifically for black people. At least we can come back and say, no, that wasn't specifically for black people. That wasn't specifically for ADOS. even if they tell that lie that it was reparations. With Marianne Willamson, we can't say that. All we can say is it's not enough. And then you know what the counter to that is. Well, nothing. It'll never be enough. So, fam, anyway, I wanted to make this video short. It went on a little longer than I anticipated, as all my videos do. But I just wanted to put that out there. Look, man, it's no black agenda, no vote. No black agenda, no vote. Again, no black agenda, no vote. And what will no vote, not voting do to benefit us? It will show the political system that we know that this is a rigged system, and that if they don't change it, they're going to breed a revolution. How that revolution is going to take place, I don't know yet. But I'm telling you, I am 100% confident that the best move is to not vote if you are not going to get a candidate that's not going to support our agenda. It's best to let the Democrats fail, let Trump continue to win, let the country continue to go into a decline until they support ADOS. Because at least Trump, he has somewhat equal opportunity racism, which means everybody gets a piece of this racist pie instead of just black people, which is what happens under the Democrats. Everybody gets to taste a little bit of racism now, instead of it just being hyper focused on black people mostly. Let the country go into decline. If white racists want to elect Trump and elect a Klansman next election when Trump gets out of office, so be it. Because the country will just go into decline, because Trump is a reckless politician. But racism is reckless, especially when you have such an open racist. And it'll signal the decline of this country. Once the economy goes down, because Trump is just out here probably a bought and paid for, supporting all these rich oligarchs too, and the economy goes down, so be it. Whatever we need to do to force change and get somebody to come with a black agenda. Otherwise, there's nothing in it for us. It's nothing in it for us. Because whether you vote or not, all these other people are going to vote, apparently, and get us a universal policy. So I don't need to vote for that, because somebody else is going to vote and get it for me anyway. And get it from me anyway. I mean, are we going to start making laws where if you didn't vote, you can't benefit from any laws or government programs? Is that we're going to start going into some type of legal compulsion to vote, which would further prove that it's a rigged system? If somebody has to make you vote, make you participate in a rigged system. We don't need Marianne Willamson to save us. We don't need her to put nothing on the no debate stage. None of that. All right, fam? We don't need none of that. We can do it. We need to have the confidence in ourselves to bring reparations to the debate stage. Nobody else. We all we got, and we're all we need. And we need to take that mentality. Because if we keep looking for help, we keep looking for somebody else to represent us, we're never going to get what we need and what we want, what we're asking for. That's why we haven't gotten it to this point. Is depending on Bill Clinton, depending on Hillary Clinton, depending on Barack Obama, depending on Marianne Williamson to be our savior and our spokesperson. No, we need to be our saviors and our spokesperson and make these other people enact the policies and the laws that we're requesting. Otherwise, they won't win. Because the Democrats, they depend on the black vote, which is why we're so focused on them and not the Republicans. But that's another video, because, you know, that's a huge lie. Oh, you guys only want to, or a huge fallacy. Oh, you guys only want to attack Democrats. You guys only want to question Democrats. Yes, of course. Because Republicans have been openly saying that they're not going to do anything for us. Reparations is a big government policy. Conservatives are about small government. So number one, they're an openly racist party that has made it more than clear that they're not going to do anything for us. Number two, reparations is a big government policy. So why would we go to the small government party for a big government policy? Now, I'm not saying that if a Republican doesn't come out and say that they'll support reparations. Hell, if Trump says that he's going to support a $14 trillion reparations package for specifically for black people. Hell, I'll vote for Trump. But I know the likelihood of that happening is less than 0%. And I know with the Democrats, it's like a 5% chance of them saying it, but at least it's a greater chance because they're more dependent on the black vote. They pretend to like us. They come out and they ask for our vote. Republicans do not. They send out all their little activists and shills and paid media shills to come out here and encourage us to support Democrats and tell us that it's a fight for our liberation and our lives and our voting rights to vote for Democrats. They're not telling us to go vote for Republicans to protect our rights. They're telling us to go vote for Democrats. So who are we going to hold accountable for a black agenda? The people who have been living off the black vote, the people who pander to the black vote, but do nothing for black people. That's who we're going to hold accountable. But again, ADOS, why are you supporting Marianne Willamson? If we're going to, and this is what I want to close the video with, if we're going to throw our support behind a candidate who doesn't really have a chance to win, why not support the Green Party candidate? Now, as far as I know, Jill Stein is not going to run again as the Green Party candidate. I think she's kind of sitting out this time. She's, basically retired, or maybe just at least sitting out this cycle. So the Green Party hasn't even selected a candidate this round. I think they're still in their primaries or haven't even gotten into their primaries yet, just like the Democrats haven't. Aren't even in their primaries yet. So the Green Party does not have an official candidate yet. But whomever they sponsor, the Green Party platform has been for years. I'm talking about at least a decade, if not longer. I'm not a Green Party historian, but it's at least a decade, if not longer, where the Green Party has been supporting reparations, which is why I voted for Jill Stein in 2012. I sat out in 2016, and I voted for Jill Stein in 2012. I voted for Obama in 2008 because I was still naive then. But the Green Party has a long history of supporting reparations, and they're not putting out some arbitrary fake ass number. I'm going to put a link to the Green Party's platform. I want you guys to go to the racial justice part, and you'll see they're supporting a full and complete reparations package for African Americans. Not this BS that Marianne Willamson, this package that's extremely, extremely, extremely far too low in amount. The Green Party has been supporting real reparations for over a decade, but they have no chance of winning. No more of a chance than, or their candidate has no more of a chance than a Marianne Willamson. But if we're going to throw our support behind someone that's going to support reparations, why not the Green Party? Because at least they support real reparations. Not some package, some arbitrary number that you came up with in your head that's far too low. That's insufficient. And then her whole basis for justifying this to white people was going to be on some love argument. When it's a debt that's old. It's a debt. It ain't about love. It ain't about platitudes. Which, again, points to Marianne Willamson being a lot more like the Democrats than some of us want to admit, or like the mainstream Democrats than some of us want to admit. Because she's talking about all this love and happiness BS, which sounds like hope and change. A bunch of platitudes. We're going to come together with love and unity. She's talking a lot of that crap, which makes her even more suspect. But anyway, I digress. Because, like I said, Marianne Willamson, she's not all bad. She said some good stuff. She said some stuff. She even said some stuff in the Tone Talks interview that I found to be profound. But overall, she's not a real reparations candidate, and we don't need her to get reparations on the debate stage at all. We already have reparations on the debate stage. We are all we need, ADOS. But anyway, that's another video. I always intend my videos, or not always, but a lot of times I intend my videos to be short, like 15 minutes or less, 20 minutes or less, but I can never seem to get to it because I always have so much on my mind and so many points I want to cover. But anyway, if those of y'all who could hang in and listen to the whole video, I thank you. Like, share, subscribe. Peace.